In the hushed corridors of a medieval monastery, candlelight flickered over parchment and ink. Brother Thomas bent over his desk, copying words older than his faith, the logic of Aristotle, the numbers of Pythagoras. Outside, the bells of evening prayer echoed through stone arches, calling him to devotion. To Thomas, there was no conflict between the two. The God he prayed to had written his truths in two books, one in Scripture and one in the stars. He was not alone. Across Europe, quiet minds were awakening. Monks who once illuminated sacred texts now illuminated ideas. They charted the heavens not to challenge heaven, but to understand it. To measure creation, one wrote, is to praise the Creator. In Paris, scholars at the newly founded university debated the nature of motion. In Oxford, Roger Bacon whispered of experiments, of testing truth with reason instead of tradition. Faith without understanding is blind, he said. Few listened. Some feared. Yet his words lingered, like a spark under dry wood. Centuries passed. The church that had preserved knowledge now struggled to contain it. When Copernicus gazed at the sky and saw the sun unmoving, it was not rebellion he felt, but wonder. The cosmos, he believed, was too perfect to be random. It must obey a divine geometry. But when Galileo turned his telescope upward, that same faith began to tremble. The heavens were not what the scriptures had described. Mountains scarred the moon. Moons circled Jupiter. Creation, it seemed, was far grander and far stranger than anyone had imagined. Still, Galileo knelt in prayer. I do not study the stars to deny God, he said softly, but to know him. Yet his discoveries would divide Christendom. Faith, once the guardian of reason, now feared the power it had unleashed. But the meeting had already happened. Faith had taught men that the universe was ordered. Reason had shown them how to read that order. Together they forged a new way of seeing, one that no dogma could silence. When faith met reason, the world changed. The monastery became the laboratory, the theologian became the scientist, and the search for God became the search for truth. From prayers whispered in candlelight was born the dawn of modern science. The moment humanity learned that understanding creation was, in its own way, an act of worship.